In my report today, I'm going to talk about this Nigerian fraudster who has now bagged 15 years in US prison. So this is how I put it today. Nigerian fraudster bags 15 years in US prison over multi-million-dollar romance scam network. What began as an online affection and emotional manipulation has ended behind bars for Saheed Sunday Owolabi, a Nigerian national now sentenced to 15 years in the United States federal prison for masterminding a sprawling fraud and money laundering operation that preyed on vulnerable victims across the United States. From fake identities to stolen millions, the case reads like a digital crime thriller. Only this time, the consequences are very real. From street talk to sophisticated fraud, behind carefully crafted online personas, Owolabi operated within a highly organized international cybercrime network specializing in romance scams, a form of fraud that exploits emotions as much as finances. According to investigators, Owolabi posed as a woman online, targeting unsuspecting men in the United States. He built trusting, often romantic relationships with victims over time. Once emotionally invested, victims were manipulated into sending money and sensitive personal information. But the scheme didn't stop there. Authorities revealed that Owolabi and his co-conspirators went a step further by using victims' bank accounts as conduits for laundering funds, channeling proceeds from multiple fraudulent operations through these accounts, then moving over $1.5 million out of the United States into Nigeria. In one particularly devastating case within the Eastern District of North Carolina, a victim lost more than $120,000, a figure that represents just a fraction of the total damage inflicted. Now here is the jury's conviction and charges. After a full trial, a jury found Owolabi guilty on two major counts: conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering. The conviction painted a clear picture. This was not a one-man hustle, but a coordinated global fraud operation with defined rules and calculated execution. This is courtroom reckoning. Leader of a criminal network. At sentencing, Richard E. Myers, Chief U.S. District Judge for the Eastern District of North Carolina, delivered a strong judgment. The court determined that Owolabi functioned as a leader and organizer within the network. The operation involved complex and sophisticated financial system designed to evade detection. Victims suffered serious financial and emotional harm. Perhaps most damning was what investigators found on his phone. Prosecutors presented images recovered at the time of his arrest, showing how the proceeds of the fraud were allegedly spent lavishly and without remorse. These visuals reinforced the prosecution's argument that the scheme was not only deliberate but driven by greed. Then authorities reacted. This is what the authorities reacted. They said cheaters never win. Reacting to the sentencing, Ellis Boyle, U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of North Carolina, did not mince words. Referencing the infamous Nigerian prince scams, Boyle emphasized that such fraudulent tactics, no matter how evolved, remain a serious threat. He stressed that the U.S. justice system will track and prosecute offenders globally. 2. Criminals who target American citizens will be held accountable regardless of location. On the investigation front, Ray Davis of the FBI's Charlotte office highlighted the broader implication of the case. He described the operation as a reflection of 1. The growing sophistication of cyber-enabled fraud schemes. 2. The international reach of modern criminal networks. David reaffirmed that the Federal Bureau of Investigation remains committed to identifying, disrupting, and dismantling such networks, working alongside global partners to bring perpetrators to justice. Investigation and prosecution. The case was thoroughly investigated by the FBI, whose findings exposed the depth and coordination of the fraud ring. Legal proceedings were led by Brad DeVoe, who successfully prosecuted the case and secured the conviction that ultimately led to Owolabi's 15 years sentence. Now here is the global warning. The downfall of Saheed Sunday Owolabi serves as a stark reminder of the real-world consequences of the digital deception. What may begin as harmless online interaction can quickly spiral into financial ruin and emotional devastation for victims. At the same time, it highlights a clear message from authorities. International borders will not shield cyber criminals from justice. As cyber fraud continues to evolve, so too do the efforts to combat it. And in this case, the message is unmistakable. No matter how sophisticated the scam, accountability will catch up. So the guy, this guy has been trending on various social media platforms. A lot of people have got mixed reactions. Why must it always be these boys, young boys from Nigeria? Yes, I know there is internet scam, Indians, Pakistanis, a lot of Bangladesh, most of them. But in recent times, it's been, Nigerian young boy this, Nigerian young boy that. Why is it that so many Nigerian youngsters are involved in this internet fraud? Is getting out of hand, and they have in a way, or maybe in a big way, given Nigeria a terrible name. Nigerian youth. So wherever you go as a Nigerian with a green passport, as a youth, a young man, you are kind of being suspected for fraud, for internet fraud and all that. So this same idea these youngsters are using to defraud people. Today we are talking about AI, we are talking about a whole lot of stuff you could do with artificial intelligence. If they invest it into artificial intelligence, develop their own platform, they could sell it for millions of dollars, they could make huge amount of money. So why are they so much invested in defrauding others? So these people need orientation. They need platforms. For me, there has to be platform to channel this kind of knowledge. If you look at them, most of them did not even do well in college or maybe in the university, but they will sit down and learn this whole scheme, how to use the internet to defraud people far away, United States of America. You could imagine the distance, but that's not even a problem for them. They have mastered this internet stuff and they've learned how to defraud even the most intelligent. It's so sad, but I'm glad he's brought to book. And the worst of it all is that there are still so many of them who are in the line to be caught and be prosecuted. They don't just care. So why is it that they don't care about all this? They read the news, they see all these reports, they see all these news all over the place that someone has been caught. Many of them have been caught, but many of them are still in the line thinking that they could not be detected. Maybe they are invisible. Well, I love the last statement which I made in this report, saying that no matter how sophisticated the scam, accountability will catch up, and international borders will not shield cyber criminals from justice. So he that has ear, let him hear.